What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Bottom Line, where life's inconsistencies are met with foundational truth. My name is Harrison Kramer.
My name is Jake Chandler.
We are two good friends who go to the same school, we live in the same house, and we both desire to know God better. So what this is a podcast where we discuss certain themes and certain topics and how that relates to God, our experience within that topic or theme, and just trying to be as helpful as possible when we break these things down. And we have a good episode today. Today we are talking about something that I think hits very close to home for many people and probably hits close to home for you if you're watching this. We're talking about social media. Were you trying to say that at the same time as me?
Maybe.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Social
media. Is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So when it comes to social media, there are many pros and many cons.
Yes.
Just like many things in life. It's
Everything in
complicated. So I feel like we don't need to explain what social media is.
Yeah.
We can just dive right into some of the pros of
Right.
social media. How can social media be helpful to people in general, and even as a believer, how can social media be something that's helpful for us?
Yeah. I mean, when used in moderation and when you have control over yourself, it can be very fun. It
Yeah.
can be a fun place to be. You can look at memes.
You can get so many laughs from social media.
Yeah. Which isn't bad
Mm-hmm.
as long as you're not on it for 12 hours a day.
Right.
But that's getting into the cons category. We'll get there
We'll
later.
get there later.
Yeah, you can use it for ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Especially the part where it's fun. Like, social media is kind of fun and it's kind of entertaining. And like most things in life that are fun and entertaining, you need to be careful.
Yeah.
You got to be careful with that. But needless to say, that is a unique, or something that I think is pretty cool about social media. And also, you said can be used for ministry is a good way, I think, to share the gospel with people, honestly. It's a good way to convey biblical truths on a large platform. And it's a good way to stay in touch with family and friends
Yeah.
that you don't get to see a whole lot. And I have some other ones, I think. Oh, this is a really big one. It's like this, how we're making this video. It's very useful for business type
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Social media can actually become a very, very helpful skill if you're trying to start a podcast or if you're trying to get your music heard, which are things that both of us do.
It's probably the easiest way to market or advertise.
Yeah.
In today's world.
And it's like now in this day and in today's world, it's the main way to market and advertise. I think it's funny that it's the main way to market and advertise for people like us, because now it's the main way to market and advertise for the billion-dollar companies too. I remember being really little before social media was really a thing, and the big marketing would come from commercials on TV. And then all of a sudden social media came around, and there are little people like us just getting our stuff known. And it's funny how bigger companies have now caught up to that, and now that's their main form of advertisement. They're doing like what we've been doing, kind of. And so it's that because it's that effective. If like social media in terms of helping businesses, marketing, advertising, things that you want people to know about. Very, very effective. It is also great for learning. I know many people who only play guitar because they learned from YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know myself personally, when I first started making music, it really wouldn't have been possible if I wasn't able to look up YouTube tutorials on how to work Studio One software.
Mm. I mean, along the lines of learning, like staying informed with the news and what's going on in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um, if you're careful for what I feel like if you dive a little deeper than the headlines,
Yeah.
it's a good way for you to find out what's going on. And a lot of times it's a very, very fast way for you to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of
Yeah.
cool that we get to get information
That's
so
how,
quickly.
like, I feel like that's how, like, breaking news spreads the fastest is through social media, like
Yeah,
Twitter posts and Instagram posts and Snapchat and stuff like that.
exactly. And that hopefully when there's breaking news and you go on Twitter and you see that, you take that and you do more research on your
Right.
own to find out whether that's real or not. But regardless, it is so fast that some of the just how news gets out. And so I think
Yeah.
if navigated properly, it can be very helpful for staying informed on things. Can you think of any other pros?
No. Do we have any more on the list?
Well, those are all I have on the list, but those are pretty sweet.
Those are good.
Things that
Those
I think
are-
social media
yeah.
can do for us.
Right.
And we got to say personally, social media has been very, very helpful for us.
Yeah.
It's how people are able to watch this podcast. It's how anyone has ever listened to my music.
Right. For people in creative arts and in like creative entrepreneurial stuff,
Yeah.
it's almost a necessity to
Yeah.
get the ball rolling.
Yeah. You mean we shouldn't just hand out
Mixtapes.
mixtapes, CDs anymore?
I mean, you
Put
can.
up posters around the neighborhood.
You can. I don't think it's gonna work.
It might work, but it might be a lot less efficient
Yeah.
in today's day and age. It's pretty helpful. But if you can't think of any other pros, we can get on with the
The cons.
cons.
What are the cons?
Well, one of the biggest cons of social media is that it's addictive.
Mm-hmm.
It's very addictive.
Very.
And it's something people are addicted to.
Yeah. It's a very easy time waster. Like whenever you have downtime, just open up Instagram and just scroll endlessly. There's always something next.
Yeah.
It never stops. And you can just spend hours and hours. And then before you know it, you find yourself checking the time on your phone. Not even checking the time because now you're on Instagram.
Yeah. That's weird.
Yeah.
and not even like that's legit. You
Yeah.
opened up your phone to do one thing and you naturally ended up doing this other thing and possibly wasting a lot of time just because we are that caught up in it. We are that addicted essentially.
The screen time feature on my phone is very convicting.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it's not good.
Yeah.
I look back on it at the end of the day and I'm always like, I really spent that much time on my phone?
Yeah.
Dang.
You did.
Dang.
It's
Rough.
I think it's interesting that it's been a long time since I think people have really been bored like
Yeah.
they used to be. When we were really little kids, before we had phones, I remember being bored and being like there's absolutely nothing to do. And so you were forced to use your imagination and go and do something. But ever since I got a smartphone or an iPod Touch, I can't really remember being bored like that because there was now there's always something to occupy my time,
Yeah.
which sounds like a good thing, but that thing doesn't really force you to use your imagination a whole lot.
Right.
It kind of just is giving you stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't really amount to much.
Yeah.
Really.
Mhm.
It can if you do it right, but I feel like the majority and where the addictive behavior comes in is when it's just something to occupy your mind.
Mhm.
Nothing really productive going on.
Yeah. And it's very occupying because there's always something new to see.
Yeah.
There's always some rabbit hole you can go down.
You can follow thousands of people
Mhm.
and just see what they all have to say.
Yeah. You can just totally dive into one world, and then if you get sick of that world, dive into another one.
Yep.
Doesn't really end. So it's addicting.
Moving on.
Very addicting, very appealing. But I do want to say something else about the addictive nature of it, is that I think people in general don't like how addicted they are to social media.
Yeah.
I think that's something people recognize. Like you said earlier, people they really don't want to be on their phone as much as they are. And I think something that's important for people to know is that the apps, the way that they're laid out, the way that they are colored and designed is made to make people addicted. It's literally designed to make you addicted.
Yeah, like the best way to run a business, like running social media, if you own Instagram, you're going to want people to spend as much time on Instagram as you can.
Yeah.
So you're going to design it in a way that keeps you there and draws you back in.
Yeah, exactly. So like every time you're on Twitter and you see that little blue dot by the house,
Oh boy.
it's there so that you'll feel the need to like click
Something
on
new.
that again. Exactly.
Gotta see what it is.
That's right. Keep going. Refresh. So I think I don't know why I think that's helpful for people, but like it's helpful for people to know that it's kind of a trap sometimes.
Yeah.
And so don't play yourself, basically.
Yeah.
You know? Like be smart. And I think that's a good way to frame it in a way that people need to be careful because there are people and there are businesses that want you to stay as long as you can.
Yeah.
Which is it's not good. Yeah. Next con.
It can be an idol.
An idol. That's not what you said yesterday.
We have written down idolatrive. But it can be an idol.
I don't think that's a real word.
And
Idolatry.
I feel like that plays into a lot of the other cons we have on here.
Yeah, definitely.
Like we have written down false sense of worth, false sense of friendship, distracting from real life. I feel like those all play into social media being an idol in the sense that it's where you can go to see how many followers you have, see how many likes you have, and you can gather your worth from that. And on the flip side, if you don't have enough followers, if you don't have enough likes, you can really damage your own self-worth through social media. And just the addictive nature of it is an idol. Like if it's above the place of God, like we talked about last time, it's an idol.
Yes.
And if it's my natural habit to go to Instagram instead of to go to God, then that's an idol. So it's just very good at being like sneaky.
Yes, very sneaky.
Like just the concept of calling them friends or followers.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like subconsciously like working in you to twist what a real friend is and what a follower is and what clicking like means. Like if your day is made by getting 100 likes on your post, odds are the people that like that post aren't thinking about it ever again.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah, that's funny.
yeah, it's just deceiving, I think,
Hmm.
sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, it gives a false sense of a lot of things. And I thought it was interesting when you said the friends and followers thing, because social media is a fantastic way to connect with people and a fantastic way to network, especially with business.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's relied upon for your friendship connections, it's not sustainable because it's virtual. It's
Mm-hmm.
not it's not real.
Yeah.
There's something about a real friendship with a real person in the same room. See, you're real. That is meant for people, designed for us.
Do you think do you think social media kind of started that the trend of needing friends?
What do you
Like
mean?
people will say I really don't have many friends. I really have 4 or 5 real friends. I wonder if social media was kind of like the start of that sort of thinking. Like before Facebook, before any of that,
Mm.
was it normal to have that many friends? Like 4 or 5 close friends? And only with like the invention of
Oh,
having hundreds and hundreds of friends, do people really like see that as a problem?
so you w- what you started saying was the people saying like, yeah, but I only have like 3 real friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that a thing before? I don't know.
It's just a thought I had.
I think I imagine that's probably always been a thing to some extent, but I think that this definitely could amplify that. When you, like you said, when you look and see that you have hundreds of Facebook friends, it might bring to light the fact that you only have 3 real friends.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, yeah, it could just bring some of that stuff to your attention, maybe more than it has in the past.
Yeah.
I think that it's
Just a
probably,
thought.
yeah, I think
Something to
that's an
think
interesting
about.
thought.
What
Because
else? Sorry.
real friends are important.
Yeah, they are.
And you don't need that many.
Maybe we should do an
You just
episode
need
on
to like,
friendship.
we should. You, um, very few people have like 10 best friends.
Yeah.
You might have 2 or 3, maybe 4 best friends, you know?
Right.
And I I don't know if social media does this, but I don't want anyone to get their view of friendship twisted by social media, thinking that you need more than that,
Yeah.
you know? Not saying that you shouldn't have more than that, but that's enough.
Yeah.
You know? It's good.
And I feel like that can even we'll move on from this. We've been talking about this for a while. But I feel like that can almost reach into the business side of things too. Like rating your business's success on how many followers it has.
Ooh.
Cuz like that's not always an accurate representation of the people that take in your content.
Yeah. Social media is deceiving in that way.
Yeah.
You can look at a certain business on social media, and if you just look at that, you think they do not have it together. They have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
But you visit them in real life, they're living their dream.
Right.
They're actually successful. And sometimes success is not reflected on social media.
Right.
And it also goes the other way where someone could totally be popping off on social
Yeah.
media, and then you see them in real life and their business is awful,
Right.
and they actually don't have that many people and that much success at all.
Yeah.
So it's not meant to, and it never has been meant to paint the full view of a business, much less paint the full view of a person or
Right.
a friendship.
Yeah.
It just would completely undermine that and not do it justice in the slightest.
Moving on.
Moving on. We kind of touched on these. If you want to say anything else as I go through them, it's distracting from real life.
Right.
false sense of friendship and connection,
Yep.
false sense of worth. Good on all those?
Yeah.
I think so. It's a doorway to, it can be a doorway to bad things.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It can be something that gets a foothold in your life. If you don't know what a foothold is, it's when you're going to shut a door, but then someone's foot gets in the way
Holds it?
and it holds the door open. So like you almost have it shut and it pretty much is shut, but there is something keeping it open. And I think social media can do that for many things, like envy, like jealousy, pride, selfishness, lust, like the list goes on
Anger.
and on.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Did you want to elaborate on any of those?
Yeah, I guess we might come back to this thought based on our next topic, but I'll come back to that thought.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we really have to get too deep into that. I think a couple big ones are definitely lust, gossip,
Oh, gossip.
and envy. That can really become footholds or really twist your perception of things through social media.
Yeah.
Is it James that says, "Do not give the devil a foothold"?
I don't remember. I think it might be.
It's the Bible. That's for sure.
Yes, it is in the Bible. That's why I said it.
All
That's
right.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Next thing.
The devil would love to get a foothold through social media. Whoa, next thing.
Oh, are we done talking about the
Well, I
doorway
have
to
some
the
stuff to
badness?
say.
Oh, talk
The
about
badness. I think social media is a breeding ground for jealousy and envy.
it. Yeah.
And I think if people are posting things with the intent of look at me and don't look at them, then you're part of the problem, you know? Well, if you're posting something, you probably want people to look at you, but you know your heart. I feel like I say that a lot. You do know your heart, and you probably know your intentions. And so it's important that we don't play into the jealousy and the covetousness that goes on in social media, because that really brings people down.
Yeah.
And it really drives people's lives. Like you said earlier about your day is made through all these likes that you get, when the people who liked it probably don't think about it again.
When someone we're backtracking now.
Good.
When someone posts on Snapchat, go like my new Instagram post.
Mm-hmm.
I get real concerned. That's all I was gonna say on that one.
Is it like a selfie or is
Yeah.
it okay?
Like a
Gotcha.
selfie.
If it was like
Content,
Yeah.
like music
Check
or a
out my
video
new
or
vlog or
something,
something.
yeah, that's fine. But if it's a picture of your dog or a picture of you, then I get
no.
concerned.
Don't talk about dogs.
I won't. Back to where we were. What we were talking about before that.
I'll leave that alone. You said there's some of these you want to come back to.
The foothold thing I want to
Okay.
come back to.
So we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Another con of social media is we discussed earlier how it can be a good way to get news fast, but we said you have to be careful because sometimes that news is not real. Sometimes it's fake. So it can rapidly spread, like you said, gossip. It can rapidly spread some pretty toxic things,
Rumors.
and sometimes some things that just aren't real.
Yeah. Because as sad as it is, social media is definitely used to like ruin people sometimes.
Yeah.
Like it can be used in very destructive ways. And it is used in the very destructive ways.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. When you can go on Twitter and see, and if two people are having a beef, Not like a dinner, but like an
Oh,
argument.
okay, I thought you meant like roast beef.
No, not that. And you can look at how many likes and retweets they get each and automatically like pick and side with the person who has
Yeah.
more. And so then you finalized your thought process and you finalized your view of this person based on one sentence from them and one sentence from another person. And so it's a very dangerous way that people can think they have a full picture of somebody just because they've seen their tweets, just because they've seen their pictures.
And if you're a person in a high position, like one wrong tweet or one wrong post can just end your career.
Yeah, you have to be very smart with that.
Yeah.
There are so many examples of that.
And I mean, some might be valid, I don't know, but you can definitely easily get misconstrued and taken out of context and just lose it.
Oh yeah. And you're right. Some of those are like, you really shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
And then some of them are like, it's not even what he said. That's not what he meant. You know, that's a good point. That goes into the next con of social media offers an incomplete representation of people.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way you can go on someone's accounts and think that you understand who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can. People do that all the time. But just know that that is not even 10% of what that person is really like. You would need to actually live with that person, actually be their close friend to understand what they're like.
Yeah.
So to think that you can write someone off or you have the right idea about someone just because of their social media is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, no way can the human mind, body, soul be summed up in accounts, online accounts.
Yeah.
And the last con is fake happiness.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jake.
I feel like we touched a little bit on it. If you're letting social media be the driving factor in what brings you happiness, that's fake. That's not real, true joy. I almost feel like it's not even something that brings a lot of happiness. It's, like we said earlier, just something that keeps your mind occupied. So it's not that it, I don't know, I guess I'm speaking from my own experience.
Okay.
It's not something that brings me happiness. It's not something that like lifts me up when I'm down, but it's something that takes my mind away from things.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I like that perspective because I think it is a little different from my experience where social media has taken me to the mountaintop. It has brought me value. When I released my first song, my junior year of high school, if you guys want to check it out, it's Way It Seems is what it's called. I dropped it and I was so scared and so insecure. But this thing got like 500 views the first night. And then by the end of the week, it had over 1,000 views. And I could tell you, I felt very, very good. And I felt very, very happy.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just a distraction for me. It was my value was wrapped up in these views and these likes. And then I dropped my second song. And it got 200 views the first night. Maybe gets up to like 500 views. And I feel terrible. But if you look at my videos, that's a lot for this channel.
Yeah.
But because my value was set on 1K, my value was like sliced in half brutally because I found it in social media and what it does for me. And so I think that a lot of people do find happiness in this stuff, but then it always leads to disappointment, or it always leads to running in a circle, never actually getting what you want because you need another picture with more likes because those last likes don't actually sustain you,
Yeah.
even if they make you happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on. All right.
So, as believers in Jesus, as followers of Christ, we both have had different approaches to social media because it can be a toxic wasteland sometimes.
Yeah.
The world can be a toxic wasteland in general. So, like many things in life, we need to navigate carefully. And we're going to share some of the ways that we navigate carefully. Not corporately, not together, but just like individual, how do we feel we can use social media or not use social media in a way that honors God? And I'll let you go ahead.
And that goes back to what I was going to bring up later about the foothold.
It's later now?
It's later now.
Good.
Yeah, the Bible says do not let the enemy have a foothold. So if you see it becoming a foothold, you got to cut it off. You got to get rid of it. Or set rules or
what does
boundaries.
Jesus say?
If your right hand causes you to sin, chop it off. It's gone now.
It's not going to cause me to sin again. Healed.
But yeah, if you see it becoming a foothold in your life, something that leads you into lust or into anger or pride, then you got to get rid of it. You can't try to use it without those things. You just got to either set strict boundaries and stick to them or get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because the devil is deceiving and will trick you into thinking you can work your way around it.
That's a very good way to lay the groundwork.
Yeah.
I want to, in case no one's ever heard when Jesus says, if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off, because it's better to go through life without a hand than it is to go to hell.
Right.
And so what he means is that whatever is causing you to sin and causing you to stumble, cut it off.
Right.
Put up a blockade, put up whatever you can around it, not because that blockade is going to save you, but because that blockade is going to make you think twice. And so if you lost your right hand from sinning, it doesn't mean you can't again sin with your left hand, but it does mean like, oh, I remember what happened, and I remember why this is something I need to think twice about. And so these are some things that we do to either cut certain things off, cut off lust, cut off pride, or set up barriers so that those things take longer to get to us, and by that point, we can have recognized it and walk the other way.
Yeah. Mine are very simple. I don't use it.
Oh.
I do. There are some caveats. I do have Instagram. I do have Twitter. I have Facebook, but I don't keep any of the apps on my phone, so that I'm not just mindlessly going on or impulsively going on. I do still have accounts, and I want to use them for like promotion of this and promotion of music and stuff like that in the future. So that's why I've kept like the accounts, and I still get on them occasionally just to like scroll through a little bit, see what's going on, see if anybody's tagged me in anything or anything like that. But I don't keep any of the apps on my phone, and I really try to be on them just as little as possible. I have Snapchat. That's about the only thing I use.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that is simple.
It's effective.
But effective.
Yeah.
Good.
Some people probably might have, like, keeping the app off the phone might not work for some people. And even for me, I will re-download the app a lot.
Yeah.
And just keep deleting it until the habit is broken. Some people might have to just delete their accounts entirely,
Yeah.
but I found just having the icon not in your face all the time has worked pretty well.
Exactly. Because if you're addicted to something, you can find a way to get back to it.
Yeah.
And I'm again going to go back to cutting off the hand. The cutting off of something, the cutting off of the hand, the deleting of social media is meant to direct you into a change of heart.
Mm-hmm.
But if you cut off your hand or delete social media and your heart doesn't change, you can go through a lot to get that back.
Yeah.
Like if you're addicted to porn and all you do is, let's say you smash your computer.
Yeah.
Let's say you delete all your Pornhub accounts or whatever. But if your heart doesn't change, you're going to go to the store and buy magazines.
Yeah.
And so these things, these steps that we take are meant to initiate an actual attitude change and an actual renewal of your mind instead of just these walls, because
Right.
you can get around walls.
Yeah.
But walls are helpful.
I have found that a very a very
I broke the pencil.
easy way to go about renewing your mind is to stop putting it into your mind.
Ah. Makes sense.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
then, just over time, your mind starts to focus on other things, more
Mhm.
important things.
Definitely.
What are your rules/guidelines?
My guidelines, I like that word. Jake and I are different because I do use social media more than Jake does to keep up with things like this. I feel like, well, coming from a business aspect, I try to post on social media at least twice a week just to stay, because that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
But outside of content-based things, and when it comes to the footholds that I need to watch out for, some of the things that I stay away from are the Instagram Explorer page. Sometimes it's hard to stay away from that, but I've had to make it a rule that that's just something I cannot afford to even look at anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's gotten me too many times. And it's not like, sometimes you go on there and you're not even looking at like bad things. You're just looking at maybe sports things or movie things that interest you. But then 3 hours went by and it's like, what happened?
Yeah, exactly.
So I can't go on the Explore page. That's not for me. And when it comes to things like lust, we briefly touched on earlier, I think social media is a fantastic doorway into a full-blown porn addiction.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, most of the time, there are some exceptions with some close friends, but if I see a picture of someone in a swimsuit or a bikini and like I don't really know them that well or I don't see them anymore, I immediately unfollow them.
Mm-hmm.
That's been happening a lot recently because it's spring break.
Yeah.
And so whenever spring break comes around or summer comes around, I unfollow a lot of people because it's like, you have to ask yourself, why do you need this on your timeline? And I have not found a good answer, so I will unfollow those people. And if I've unfollowed you, which I may have, it's not personal at all. There have also been times, because another thing I do is I do like a purge every once in a while of, if I see anything negative or anything that doesn't benefit my relationship with God, whether it's through a tweet or through a picture, I just unfollow that person. I also don't go on social media on Sundays. So as soon as it's Saturday and midnight hits, I don't go on social media until Monday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And so that day is really nice because it's like a restart button. And if it's been a hard week where I've struggled with it too much, I can count on Sunday to get me back on track, which is very, very nice.
Social media and like YouTube, like fasts like that, just from online content have been some of the most productive fasts
Yeah.
in my life. So
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah, and I've been encouraged with how many people I've seen take that step of like I'm going to be off of this for the next few months, or like I'm officially deleting this. And I'd like those are things for reasons I've already said I wouldn't do that.
Right.
But it's like it's cool to see people recognize how connected they are to something, and then to see that maybe it's not actually worth it.
Mm.
So I like that. That's about it from my end.
Nice.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. So the last couple things we wanted to touch on was that, believe it or not, social media can be used, should be used, and I think is meant to be used to honor Jesus.
Yep.
So if you are a follower of Christ, it's important that the content you put on social media does not contradict the character that you claim to have,
Mm-hmm.
and does not contradict the character of Christ. Right?
Yeah.
That his character is meant to become our character, and that should be what people see, and it should not be confusing.
Yeah.
And social media is meant to be helpful for people. It can be a helpful way for people to get to know us. It can be a helpful way for people to get to know Jesus and understand some basics of eternal life. And I think one of the other big things is that social media should not direct your thoughts. Social media should not be the only thing that impacts how you view somebody or something.
Mm-hmm.
God should be the one to do that. And so if something is well accepted and well received on social media, before you jump on the bandwagon, you need to turn to the Bible and see if that's something you should be doing. If it's not, then you have to give it up and just go against the majority or not engage with the majority.
Yeah.
If it is, then go ahead and enjoy that. Like that's cool. But yeah, just know that God is the captain of your thoughts. Don't be driven by the culture alone. Don't be driven by what's popular alone. Analyze all of it through the lens of Scripture, through the eyes of Christ, because He has given us eyes to see those things.
Mm-hmm.
And limit yourself if you feel like its pull on you is too strong and it's claiming too much of your identity.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think that's good. It's a good thing.
That was good. You guys will see this episode up on social media and go ahead and watch it. Before we end, I want to know what you learned this past week.
I learned a good amount. Yeah.
Yeah?
Spring break was last week.
Yes, it
Or
was.
the last week and a half was spring break.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot about being okay with God's will. Contentment, which we've talked about. I feel like I've talked about learning about that in the past as well.
I think so.
But you guys all went to Florida on a spring break trip. with
we
his
did.
house, Christian Fellowship.
Yes.
At WMU. And I really wanted to go, but I had work all week, spring break.
Yeah.
So the week up to spring break, I fasted. Some days I did a couple of food fasts, but the whole
Fast
week,
food?
No. I didn't go to McDonald's.
Oh, okay.
But that's funny.
Man, I was really praying and I was eating so much McDonald's.
And I also did like a social media fast the majority of the week.
Okay.
And still didn't get to go.
You were, just to clarify, because you were fasting.
I was trying to get the days covered at work, trying to get the time off of work so I'd be able to go. And I was
Yeah.
fasting for that. and I still wasn't able to go, which was sad.
Mhm.
But I'm really glad I didn't go because it was a really good week here, and I really feel like God really wanted me here for a couple of specific reasons,
Mhm.
which are cool to see in hindsight.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
I've learned, yeah, it's okay. It's better that I didn't get what I wanted,
Mm.
because I would have missed some important things
Yeah.
that I shouldn't have missed. Couldn't have missed.
Yeah. I'm proud of the way that you embraced the what you were given,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that is a huge stride towards contentment,
Yeah.
because taking advantage of what you have, you could have sat around and moaned about how you're not in Florida with us, but you did take advantage of it and you did develop or further develop some good relationships back here. So
Yeah.
it's awesome.
I learned another thing. Well, I didn't learn
All right.
anything, but
Save it.
I learned a lot. I'm gonna say another thing.
Okay.
I've also just learned to appreciate creation more, and its intricacies
Mm-hmm.
and vastness at the same time.
Yeah.
Like how beautiful the world is, and just how that's the Bible talks about that being evidence enough for God,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just been really cool.
Yeah. That's something I think I learned as well. So what Jake was saying was he had to stay back from a mission trip that I was able to go on with our campus ministry. So I went on it with a bunch of our close friends, as well as a bunch of other people who joined in, a bunch of international students, and it was really cool. So that's what I did over spring break. And to piggyback off of the creation thing, being in Florida, being at the beach, and even being on the work sites and doing jobs, it was cool to see God's impressive creation, especially with palm trees. Those
Huh.
things blow my mind. Like they have little jagged things that just
Yeah.
it's so weird, but it's so cool. And then on our work sites, we were creating our own things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're only creating things because God did first. And we're literally using things that he gave us to do this. And it only works because his word stands and his laws stand. And I think that's cool. But the thing I learned is that I need, kind of like what we talked about today, I need to let Jesus be the captain of my thoughts and let him steer my thoughts, because I found myself being throughout my whole life, I found myself being very easily swayed by people who are passionate and confident and intelligent about anything. And so even if they are intelligently, passionately confident about something that goes against what I believe, I find my heart and mind sympathizing with them and dwelling on their words. Is this making sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, what if they know a bunch of stuff like I don't know? And I completely forget that Jesus has known me my whole life. And I can't be so captivated by people I barely know. And maybe people I've never met if it's just like a video or something.
Mm-hmm.
These are, yeah. I hear like very surface level things that are said very confidently, and then my mind begins to wander. And sometimes I dwell on those things more than I dwell on the words of Christ.
Yeah.
And I think if I dwell on the words of Christ more, this will eventually become a non-issue.
Mm.
And I think the enemy wants me to be lured into that and to be taken by that. But God takes many bad things and uses them for good. So God is taking this opportunity to remind me that I can dwell on his word much more than I have throughout my life. And I'm excited to do that.
Nice.
Just memorizing scripture more and Yeah. You want to
Yeah.
hear one?
Sure.
John 11:35.
What is it?
Longest scripture in the Bible.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it?
Jesus wept. We're off to a good start, boy.
Yeah, good job.
But in all seriousness, it's been helping me out. It's good.
Nice.
So that's it.
That's it.
We want to thank you guys for watching this video. If you feel like you want to get in touch and ask us questions, you can get in touch with me on Instagram because Jake doesn't go on there a whole lot. But or you can comment on this video. We'll be back again next Thursday with another episode. These come out at 9 a.m. every Thursday. And so we'll see you then. And again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for making it this far. This is The Bottom Line,
where we meet
life's inconsistencies
with foundational truth.
Truth. See you guys.